Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely. Always ready to explore.
Today we're tackling a creature that's, well, a bit of an enigma.
Oh, I like enigmas.
This one's a paradox, really. We're talking about the black-footed ferret, one of North America's most endangered mammals.
Right on the brink?
But also a pretty shining example of how conservation can actually work.
Yeah, a real beacon of hope in the.
Yeah, in the world of conservation, for sure.
Absolutely.
We've got a fantastic write-up on these guys packed with details. So let's dive in and see how this little critter managed to claw its way back from, well, almost oblivion.
From the edge.
All right, set the scene for me. What exactly are we dealing with when we talk about a black-footed ferret?
Okay, so picture this. You've got this predator about the size of, say, a house cat.
Oh, okay.
Sleek, slender, but with this very distinctive black mask around its eyes.
Ooh, mysterious.
Right. Black feet and a black-tipped tail. Hence the name, obviously.
Of course, of course. So they're built for the prairie life, right?
Perfectly adapted. But, and here's the thing.
Here's the but.
You got it. They've got this very particular dependency.
Ooh, I don't like the sound of that when it comes to endangered species.
Yeah, it's a risky strategy, you could say. You see, black-footed ferrets are what we call prairie dog specialists.
Meaning?
They depend on prairie dogs for just about everything. 90% of their diet is prairie dogs.
Wow.
And they even live in those abandoned prairie dog burrows.
So their fate is totally tied to these prairie dogs.
Exactly. Put all their eggs in one basket, as they say.
Makes them vulnerable. So these ferrets are basically nocturnal prairie dog hunters then.
You got it. Imagine. It's nighttime. The ferret comes out of its burrow, sniffing the air. They've got this incredible sense of smell. It leads them right to their prey. They're agile, use those sharp teeth, take the prairie dog down.
Brutal, but circle of life and all that.
Exactly. Got to eat. And they need to be efficient about it. A black-footed ferret has to eat like one prairie dog every 3 to 4 days.
That's a lot of prairie dogs.
It is. Which is why when things started going downhill for prairie dogs,
Oh no.
things got really bad for the ferrets. You had habitat loss, disease hitting the prairie dogs, and then people deliberately trying to get rid of prairie dogs. Farmers saw them as pests.
Right, I could see how that happened.
It all added up to a disaster for the ferrets. By the 1970s, scientists thought they were gone, extinct.
Gone. Wow. That's heavy. But obviously there's more to the story. This captive breeding program you mentioned, that's where things turned around, yeah.
It's a remarkable story, really. In 1981, someone stumbled across a tiny population of black-footed ferrets in Wyoming. It was like finding a ghost.
Wow, a real Lazarus moment.
Exactly. But then, tragedy, disease ripped through this little group, leaving only 18 ferrets alive.
Oh no. 18. That's so few.
It was dire. But those 18, they became the foundation for this incredible captive breeding program.
And that's what saved them.
It's a huge part of it. Thousands of ferrets have been bred and then reintroduced all over North America.
Yeah.
Places like Badlands National Park, they're becoming these strongholds for the species.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So are they out of the woods now? Back to healthy numbers.
It's a work in progress. They're doing much better, but they still face challenges.
Still walking a tightrope.
Definitely. And a lot of it comes back to those prairie dogs.
Ah, right. Because if the prairie dogs go...
The ferrets go. One of the biggest threats is this thing called sylvatic plague.
What's that?
It's a nasty disease, affects both ferrets and prairie dogs. It can wipe out entire colonies, so conservationists are constantly on the lookout trying to manage it.
Vaccinating?
Yeah, they vaccinate prairie dogs, try to treat the plague. It's a constant battle.
Makes you appreciate how much work goes into this.
Oh, absolutely. And on top of that, you've got habitat fragmentation.
Oh, right, of course. That's a problem for so many species.
It's huge. The prairies being broken up by roads, development, all that. Makes it harder for ferrets to find enough prairie dogs, establish new territories.
Makes that prairie dog dependency even more risky.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. And it's why the concept of a keystone species is so important here. Might have heard that term before.
I have. But remind me, what makes the black-footed ferret a keystone species?
Well, they're not just surviving on the prairie, they're actually shaping it. Think of them as, like, guardians of the grasslands.
Okay, I like that.
Because by keeping the prairie dog population in check, they're preventing overgrazing. Without the ferret, the prairie dogs would eat everything in sight, turn the whole place into a dust bowl.
Wow, so they're like a natural balancing force.
Exactly. And that balance benefits all sorts of other plants and animals, too. Keeps the whole ecosystem healthy and diverse.
Which ultimately benefits us, too. It's all connected.
It really is. It's a web.
It's amazing, right? You've got this tiny creature, almost vanished from the earth. Now it's making a comeback. And its survival is actually tied to the health of entire ecosystems. It makes you think.
It does. If something as specialized and vulnerable as the black-footed ferret can bounce back,
Yeah.
what does that tell us about the potential for other conservation efforts? Makes you wonder how many other species are out there quietly shaping the world around us.
Like what we can do to help them thrive.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a great note to end on. This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the importance of even the smallest creatures
They can have the biggest impact.
and how understanding these connections can help us appreciate the amazing biodiversity all around us.
Absolutely.
So, next time you're out in nature, take a moment to think about all the creatures, big and small, that are working behind the scenes to keep our planet healthy. Who knows what other keystone species are out there just waiting to be discovered?
That's a great thought.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.
See you then. Bye.